Hello.
All right, welcome.
Hi,
Yeah,
everyone.
hi. I'm Eric Rosenbaum from the Scratch team, also co-inventor of the Makey Makey invention kit, and here with Colleen.
And I'm Colleen Graves. I work at Makey Makey. I have for the last 5 years. I taught in education for 15 and I was an English teacher and a librarian. And so using Scratch in the classroom is one of my passions. And it's one of the really cool things I got to bring with me into my new role at Makey Makey. And I create our content and do these things. I do all these live wonderful things and a thousand other things. So I won't keep talking, but we're here today
So fun.
we're here today to show you how you can hack apps with Makey Makey and Scratch. Partly because we have new apps, but I think the first thing we need to know is what grade level people teach. I'd like to know that in chat. And I just realized I had to slow down. And did you hear me? I slowed down all the way.
Nice and slow.
Slowing down. And I'd also like to know if you have used Makey Makey before. So how many people have not used Makey Makey, because that will be important for us, right, Eric?
Oh yes, we'll give an intro, but we'd love to learn about our audience.
Yeah, so I'm seeing we have people from Magnolia, Texas. We have someone from Denmark and Barcelona. Someone's having trouble logging in, so I think we just need to tell her if someone can type, though you have to click join Zoom. I know it took me a second. Join, I'll type it. Join Zoom on the upper, is it left? Tech team? All right, so let's talk about hacking Makey Makey and Scratch.
Awesome.
Oh, we said who we are. We're not doing it again, right? We already did it.
Eric, Colleen.
Eric, Colleen. Eric's on the Scratch team. Colleen's on the Makey Makey team. We want to share our new Makey Makey apps because we're 10 years old. We're celebrating our banana-versary. I do have my banana. And we're really excited about that because in the first time in 10 years, we have new apps, like tons of new apps. And so you may not have seen those. And I'm really seeing a clear pathway. I told Eric right before the session, I'm really seeing a clear pathway now and how we can use Makey Makey to teach coding, because we can look at the apps we have and we can use those as inspiration.
Right, so we'll show you some Makey Makey apps and then make our own version of those things in Scratch with just a few blocks. It's pretty fun. And also, that's why I have an orange and a banana and this little fox and what even is this thing as props for our Makey Makey creations.
Show those again. Let me see that.
Oh, there's too many things. Fruit. Other weird stuff. Oh no, I dropped my Makey Makey on the floor. So you might be wondering.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, what is this thing?
What is Makey Makey? And you're doing that part, right, Colleen?
I am going to do that part. And I'm going to bring my screen back up. I had to just make sure everything looked okay. So Makey Makey, in fact, I might be kind of small on my screen, but I promise I'll come back, okay? So Makey Makey is basically the same. It's just an invention kit that there's my arm. It allows you to create with everyday stuff, but it works as a keyboard. So Makey Makey is the same as this keyboard. And it basically has only a few keys you can do. So anything you can do with your keyboard, you can now do with your Makey Makey. And that's why
I like to say that when you plug in the Makey Makey, your computer thinks it's a keyboard.
Right.
But you get to make your own keys out of everyday objects.
Right. You get to make your own keys out of everyday objects. So I can take right now, just to even advance my slide. I think I got out of full screen, so I apologize. Let me get back in there.
You're cool.
And I can advance my next slide by taking, let me go back. All right, so it also works as a mouse. Are you doing that? Am I doing that? They're moving, and it's not me.
Difficulties.
It has to be me.
Part of the fun of Makey Makey is creative chaos. So it looks like Colleen is connecting her Makey Makey to a banana.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yes,
connected it on the Makey Makey to the right arrow, right?
I have connected it to the right arrow. In fact, can I pin me, or can anyone doing the Zoom call pin me? Because I know we're flipping because we're talking. So I have the right arrow connected to a banana. And if I tap the banana, I now move to the right. My computer thinks I've tapped the right arrow key.
It's
So
the
make
same as the regular arrow key, but now it's a banana.
right. And so um, when you tap, you could take the alligator clips off. You can just hold it with your hands. If I tap left, I'm going back to my note that says each key is a switch. So on the front, I have up, down, left, right, space, and click. And on the back, I have more keys. I have W, A, S, D, F, G, and I have the mouse controls right here. So we're going to show you something cool about the mouse control here today. So I'm going to hold her, and I'm going to move to the right and to the right. And so each switch opens and closes a circuit. You had a good way of saying this, Eric, about the Makey Makey circuit.
Um, yeah, so when the Makey Makey detects that you complete a circuit, that's when it says to the computer that you pressed the key. And so the circuit here goes from the right arrow on the Makey Makey circuit board through that wire that's connected to the banana, and then across Colleen when she touches it, back to the Makey Makey. So it's a loop from the right arrow through the wire, the banana, Colleen, and then back to the Makey Makey, where she's holding the bottom of the board and touching the earth or ground part of the Makey Makey. So it's a complete loop, also known as a circuit.
Right. And what is really cool about that is Makey Makey allows you to create your own switch. So you can see here's like a paper clip switch that there's a GIF of, and we're going to show you more ways to use it. And Eric has this really cool idea of different ways you can make switches. So there's different types of connections. There's skin to skin. So usually I have a kid here. I could try to get them to come over and help me, but that's probably what you've seen most common is people making a big circle to complete a circuit. I'm doing skin to object when I touch this banana. I could also connect my earth up to something else. So I have this here, and I had an alligator clip around my shoulders. Here we go. See if I can do it. So
These
I
are
could
just
take
different ways of making connections with Makey Makey. It'll start to
right,
make more sense once you try it out at home.
right. So I could actually take this piece of Play-Doh
Oh,
and
Play-Doh works great.
connect it to my Makey Makey. And now instead of me touching the banana, the Play-Doh can touch the banana and change the switch. And so I actually have someone's really having trouble logging into the
Yeah, hopefully we can get to them some help. I see some other questions in the chat. Does the
oh
switch
yeah.
dash banana have to be a conductor? Great question.
Yeah.
So the banana and the Play-Doh and Colleen are all a little bit electrically conductive, and that works great with Makey Makey. We also like to recommend that people use things like aluminum foil, or I love this aluminum tape you can get usually at the hardware store, or these kinds of disposable pie plates. Anything metallic, or most things that are metallic, will work. And so you can, if you want to put your stuffed animal into your Makey Makey circuit, you can just put some foil onto it or conductive tape, and now you can complete the circuit with that. So you can
Right.
really use anything.
And I wanted to show this video real quick, and I'll talk over it because it doesn't actually have talking. Can everyone see the video? Can you see it?
That looks good, thanks.
Okay. So what you can do is you have to build conductive touchpads. So someone asked this question. This is a really good question, which was, do I have to hold a wire to complete a circuit? Which I think is something that people often think they have to do. So you don't have to hold the banana. In fact, in the stop motion, what you can see is I have space and I have earth. And so there always has to be two conductive touchpads.
It sounds like outer space, but what we mean is the space key on your computer.
The space key. I have it for space key on the computer, correct? Right. I've been doing left and right, but I also like to do space. So what you need is you have two conductive paths. That's the same way a circuit works. And you have to have something to bridge the circuit. So a lot of times you see people holding hands and touching the banana. And so that person is what's bridging the circuit. So in this picture, you can see I have a input to space and an input to earth. Those things could be bananas. They could be change. So when I take two quarters, those quarters are conductive. Eric, can you mute when you're
Ooh,
when you're
sorry
not
about
talking?
that.
Well, your typing sound is coming through and it's bringing your picture up. So when you have the quarters connected, right now they're separate. There's nothing to bridge the connection to tell Makey Makey a circuit is complete. So everything always has to have this earth connection. That's like your ground. So when you light up a battery or a flashlight, you know how there's a black wire and a red wire. The black wire is your ground and the red wire is your positive input. Well, that's the same here with space. The space key is your positive input and earth is your ground. So get it? Earth, ground. So to connect them, when they touch each other, you can see now the loop that's completed between the space input on the Makey Makey board to the quarter, to the other quarter that's connected from the alligator clip up to earth. And I didn't do a great job of showing it, but I'll hold it up again. That whole bottom row is earth. So I can change those things to be anything conductive. So I could have the banana and I'm holding earth, like you said. I could also have more inputs. I could bring out space, up, down, left, right, and connect more bananas. And then I can hold earth. And when I touch the down banana, my computer thinks I'm touching the down arrow key. When I touch the up banana, it's touching up. So I can do those things by completing the circuit with me, or I went really fast there. Got to slow my stop motion. Or the banana can complete the circuit. I love there's one where a person wears a glove. That one of the first videos of Makey Makey I saw, where a person wears a glove and they eat a banana, right? So the glove insulates their hand. That's our science part we're learning, is what's conductive and what's an insulator. But the earth would be insulated from it when I'm holding this way. So that when I eat the banana while I'm wearing a glove, when I eat it, that will complete the circuit. It's pretty fun. So I started the whole thing over. So we'll watch it again. So we can do the quarters can connect. I can touch with myself. I can have more inputs. And I can also use foil, like Eric said, and change. I could even use a drawing. Drawing is actually one of my favorite things about Makey Makey that a lot of people don't get to. Sorry, it goes so fast because it's stop motion. But
Colleen,
you
maybe
can,
can I ask you to pause there? We're
yeah.
showing a lot of different facts
Oh,
about the
yeah.
Makey connection, but we haven't shown any of like what you can do and why. So
Oh,
let's talk about that because we got a question in the chat. So first of
sure.
all, why are we connecting all these different objects with wires? It's so that we can press keys on the computer. Why do you want to do that? Well, anything on your computer that reacts to keys, now you can make your own physical controller for. So one thing that we love to do is make musical instruments. So you load up an application or website that makes sounds when you press a key, and now you can make your own physical musical instrument that works and makes sounds. The classic one is the banana piano, a row of bananas, you tap them and they each play different notes. But you could also make a set of musical stairs that you run up and down to play the music, or there's an incredible variety of things that people have made in the community. That's just music. You can make game controllers. You can make a regular size game controller out of cardboard and Play-Doh that you play with your fingers, or you could make one that's the size of an entire room, or that is played by 6 people at once instead of just one. And so it's about repurposing the world around you, reinventing, reimagining how you can connect things to your computer and how you can play music and make games. And it's about imagining what's possible for what you can make. And it's connecting the physical and digital worlds in new ways. And really, the why of it, to me, is changing not just what people can make, but how they can see the world. And really, this is definitely true for me, how you see yourself.
Hmm.
You change maybe from being someone who uses the computer and plays games to someone who creates your own technology. You invent things of your own imagining, and that we think changes how people see themselves and empowers them. So it's It's fun, as the person put it in the chat, but then like, what's the why of it? That's the why of it.
I think that's a really good why, and I'm just going to piggyback a little bit on it, just yeah, we usually talk about that. Usually we talk about invention literacy and how important it is to teach our students to see the world differently. So right before this, I was in the creative coding. Was it creative coding, or was it somebody else had to have been there with Vic. Oh my gosh, y'all, I've lost my whole brain. But anyway, we were doing, they were talking about like empathy and creativity. And for me, what I think is amazing about Makey Makey is it seems like this dumb, silly thing where I plug in bananas and I play a banana piano. And I saw teachers do that and then put it on the shelf. And
But
I
there's so much
spent,
more.
yeah, and there's so much more you can do. So I know when I got them in my library, I had students challenge students to make a game controller with another librarian in Florida named Diana Rendina. And that was my first experience with Makey Makey. I showed them how to make a piano with drawings. I showed them how to use Scratch. I showed them all these things, and they made all these weird, crazy things. And then we connected with students in Florida, which, 9 years ago was a big deal to do for those kids. And then I realized there's so much even more. So there's accessibility challenges. Someone in the session before said they had their students create an interactive T-shirt that would like shout, I'm lost, when they were out on a field trip or something. And there's all kinds of really amazing resources that I'll share eventually in chat, but we got to get into actually
Let's get to
showing
the scratch part. This is the
what we
scratch
want to
portion after all.
show. But
So why don't I take it from here for a little
yeah,
bit and do the apps?
yeah.
Or
What's
I can.
we're at the counter app.
Okay, can I screen share?
You can. I'll take my screen share off.
Cool. Thanks, Colleen. All right.
Mhm.
So, I'm just gonna share sound.
I like how Chris Coley says he just shows Makey Makey to students and gets out of the way.
That's awesome. And I think getting out of the way is important, but inspiring people is important too. And so showing examples is really powerful. So one set of things that is relatively new from Makey Makey that Colleen mentioned are the plug and play Makey Makey apps. So there's an awesome variety of them. There's a piano app and an audio sampler for making music, and then several more. These are just really simple applications designed to work great with Makey Makey. So let's look at this counter app first of all. So hopefully you're seeing the counter app, and so you can see it's got like the arrows on the screen. So if I press my left arrow on my keyboard, and hopefully you're hearing the sound, so I get 1, 2, 3. Wow, I wonder how many points I can get. Just a second. Whoa, going up. Okay, and then I can press space to clear it. So the question is, what can we make with Makey Makey using that? And so maybe I'll just, that's interesting. Can I switch my camera? So hopefully you're gonna see, oops, I gotta turn off my virtual background. Just a moment. Okay, so now hopefully you're seeing my messy desktop with the Makey Makey. Here's the Makey Makey and also a bunch of other materials. So I'll just really quickly hook it up just like Colleen did, and then we'll play with the counter that way. So instead of pressing the keys on my keyboard, I'll be able to use the Makey Makey to count things. So I'll just plug it into the USB. And now already, if I hold Earth with one hand and then touch the left arrow with the other hand, that'll complete the circuit. Oops.
Oh, you have to refocus your
Yep, you got to
screen.
click on the counter app, and now I'm getting it up each time I touch the Makey Makey. So what else could I do? Well, let's plug in an alligator clip to the left arrow. Now I can touch that to Earth. That works. I'll plug another alligator clip into Earth. So hopefully you can see that. So I got one plugged in each place. Now I can complete the circuit just with those two clips by touching them, whoops, to each other. Let's get this. This is a little sponge made of copper, just like from the supermarket. I like this because it's easy to connect the alligator clip to. And now,
Oh, is that
that works.
that's a copper sponge
Yep, a little copper scrubby sponge.
or a steel scrub or something.
I mentioned this aluminum tape. I love this stuff. I'll just grab a little bit of it and attach it to what part of the fox should I attach it to? To count. Maybe I'll have it bounce on the sponge. So I'll just attach it to its bottom. And then, this is G-rated, it's fine. And then I'll just connect the alligator clip right there. And now, how do I complete the circuit? Just by bouncing the fox on the scrubby here. Oh, that's actually pretty fun. So I'm just counting fox bounces by completing the circuit between the fox and the copper scrubber.
And I told Eric about one of our participants in our workshop that said that he loved this app because he always had students that would argue over what snacks they liked. Like some kids like this snack and other kids like a different snack. And this counter app is actually based on kind of a voting booth style scratch project I made a few years ago. And so he connected a carrot and a banana and an apple or an apple slice. And then students could tap which snack they wanted the most. So he could take counts of what snack people liked, so he knew what to buy for the next time they came to his event.
So like if I had a second stuffed animal, I could have people vote by bouncing the one that they choose.
Right.
And then you could count, foxes versus bears or whatever. Well,
Foxes versus bears.
Let's show now.
Yeah, show us how to code it.
Like this counter app where you just press a key and it counts up in Scratch. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to Scratch and click Create. So hopefully you're gonna see my Scratch editor. I'll zoom it in a little bit to make it easier to read. Okay, so first of all, how does Makey Makey connect to Scratch? Well, we already have these blocks, like when space key pressed, you can make something happen. So let's switch that to left arrow, because that's what's already hooked up on my Makey Makey here, as you can see. And then what should we make happen? I guess we can, for now, we'll just play a sound. Okay, so now, when I press the left arrow on my keyboard, we get the meow, or I can bounce the fox, and that works too. Okay, so we got Makey Makey connected to Scratch. What we want to do is count though. So how do you count with code? Got to use variables. So Scratch comes with, you can make variables, but it comes with one already called my variable. If I check this box, you can see my variable over here is set to 0. So all I have to do is change my variable by 1, and now when I press the left arrow, it's counting up, and then I can get the same thing with the fox. Okay, wow, it already works. I can just bounce the fox on there, and it's counting up. But that app had a little sound each time. So let's go to the Sounds tab, and instead of the meow, I'm going to go to the bottom left here and choose a sound from the sound library. Under the wacky category, there's there's so many good sounds. Oof. How about
Can you choose a random? You're already in the soups.
Oh, I can actually.
Yeah.
So if I go back here and click Surprise under the Sounds tab, I can get a random sound. Oh man, that's one of the most annoying sounds, the horse whinny. Let's try a different one. A bass note. All right, let's go with the bass note.
I like the bass note.
So I'll switch back to my code tab, and now you can see that bass note is in the block already. I can just click on it, test it, And if I snap it onto my code here, now each time I press the arrow or bounce the fox, it plays the sound. So I already have a sound making interactive fox, but let's change the pitch effect
Nice.
each time. What's that going to do? Well, it's going up each time, and it's also counting each time. So right there, I have like a lot of the counter app, but just for one key. Well, how could I make the second key? Just duplicate that stack, and now the right arrow, and I don't have my second object here, but that's how you could make another thing, and then I could choose a different sound. If I had a horse, I would use the horse whinny. And then
Hey.
you have another variable, but I won't show that. So
Eric, people missed because we skipped my slide about how you plug Makey Makey in and how
Oh,
it talks to Scratch. So we have some new people who are a little lost in that. So let me just go back to our where I was showing that, and
Correct.
maybe that will help clear up a little confusion, but also let me just visually show that when, like what Eric was saying about the lights. So I was changing the slides, and some people did have a trouble getting in, so they may not have seen it, but when you plug Makey Makey in, all right, it lights up, and so I know it's working. And when I hold Earth down here and I press any of these keys, I don't have to do anything to tell my computer I plugged in Makey Makey, because my computer thinks I plugged in this keyboard.
It's just the same as if you plugged in a computer
Right.
keyboard. As far
So
as
when I go to Scratch and I program a right arrow, I do have to focus my screen sometimes. When I go to Scratch and I press this, whatever I program right arrow to do, my Makey Makey will control it. So the same with my slideshow. So if I go back to sharing the slides that are right here, where's view?
with that slideshow button,
Yeah, it's because
top
it's
right.
so
It might be
thank
behind
you.
your Zoom controls.
Yeah, that's just everything's really wonky for me right now. All right, so let me go back. Let me press left to go back. And I'm here at the slide that says what I'm doing is I'm plugging the Makey Makey into the USB. So the little USB goes here and the big one goes over to the computer. We actually have USB-C cables now. So that's cool. And when I connect Earth and I touch here, sometimes the mouse gets lost. So that's another thing that you have to do. But when I touch left or right, my computer just thinks I've done that. So if I go to Scratch, let me exit my slideshow and go to Scratch. I don't want you to see a new Scratch that you don't know what's going on. But I think this was the other question they had, was about the Makey Makey extension, which Eric did create. You don't have to have it. If I'm in control and I take any of these, if I take Win Space Click, and I'll just have this turn 15 degrees to the right when I touch space. So now, because I might have to focus my screen by tapping my mouse on the app, but if I touch space, my Scratch cat turns by 15 degrees. I didn't have to do anything special. If I touch any of the other arrow keys, nothing happens because I haven't programmed them yet. So that's how it works when you connect it. It's just magically connected. So are you done with the counter app? And we're ready to show the next app? Because that might actually help too, because we're talking about, no, we have to show how I made a counter thingy. I totally forgot.
I made a counter app too. Okay, let's go for it. And then I'll be
Well,
setting
I made a
next one
physical
here.
invention. So and it is getting a little more complicated, but I was going to do this like this, where I showed left and right plugged into my cardboard foil conductive touch pads. So I'll just do left, and actually instead of the Scratch, I'm going to use the Makey Makey app again because it'll be easier for me. And then I'm going to connect to Earth. Let me get this guy way back here. And so I'm just showing you how to make a switch really quick. So we talked about the two different conductive things. If I'm, let's see, I'm here. I think I'm showing my whole guy. In fact, I'll go back to the counter app. Someone actually showed a really cool timing switch. And so I wanted y'all to see that there is a timer app. But so if I press now on both of these, I'm counting, right? Left clicks. But if I want to make a switch like the computer keyboard, do you have your arcade button? Remember how we talked about doing that, Eric and I? Oh, I forgot my arcade button.
I'll look for it.
Okay, you look for one. So I'm basically making the same thing as my computer keyboard now, but just bigger. I have two foil pads. One is left and one is earth. And I'm got this bubble wrap as an insulator, and it has a hole in it. Can y'all see that it has a hole in it? If I had the bubble wrap all the way across, I would never get anything. But my purpose in doing this is that if I don't have the insulator, my counter wrap isn't going to count because there's nothing really to come in between because my light's always going off. The connection's always made. So if I put the bubble wrap between, now, just like Eric's fox was jumping, I can use my finger to press and count. And this also makes a really fun way to play Flappy Bird. And you may have seen on Twitter earlier this week, Brian Aspinall was doing workshops where people were Flappy Birding with, they put the foil on their bodies. So they had the foil from their arms and they could go boop, boop, boop. So what's really fun, and this kind of goes back to that question that you had, why are we doing this? And it's because it introduces creativity to our students. It gets them engaged with science and math, but they're also playing games and having fun. And so it makes them really excited to go like, oh my gosh, I can be an inventor too. I can put on the hat of an inventor and I can do that. There's the arcade button.
So here, this is just a plastic button. Makes a nice click sound. You can buy these online. And one of the cool things here is this is a button like you'd see on a device you might buy, like a game. And it just has these two little connectors. And you can just connect them with alligator clips. One to earth. We'll try to show that. And then one to a key on the Makey Makey. And now you can just press your button. And that's the same as pressing the key.
Yeah, and it's the same as this cardboard version that anybody can make with like no money. We can just go in the recycling, get our Amazon bubble wrap, right? And cut a little insulator. And we're teaching our kids what's conductive, what's an insulator, and how to make their own switch. So it's the same as the arcade button. And those buttons are really cool. If someone's asking where to get them, you can get them on Amazon. You can get them on Adafruit. You can get them all kinds of cool places. You just look up arcade button.
Yeah, they're nice and clicky. Another question about why use the Makey Makey extension. It's true. The existing
good question.
Key pressed blocks work. One thing that we did is made a smaller menu of keys that are just the ones on the Makey Makey. So it's pretty much the same, but easier to find the keys. The other thing is we added another block, and I saw somebody mention that already in the chat, that detects when you press a sequence of keys. So it's kind of like a secret code, like when you press up, up, down, down, left, right, then you can make something happen only after that whole code was entered. And another thing you can use that for is if you make several Makey Makey inputs and you slide across them, like up and then right and then down or something, you can detect that, kind of like a gesture. So it's just another fun feature.
We need to show our another app because people are asking about mouse control, and that's actually what I'm going to share too after you show us how to code the mouse. So let's show the Etch-a-Sketch app, the Make-a-Sketch, and how we can code that, because that will answer some of the exact same questions, because I get to show how to code the mouse version and show the mouse controller, and people are asking that in chat right now. So,
all right, so I'll just
you share Scratch and we'll see how. Oh no, you share the Makey Makey app first.
Shout out to our interpreters, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you for their hard work.
Thank you so much.
We're talking a lot.
And we talk fast.
So just give me a second here.
So I'm also answering things in the chat, but I don't see my responses coming up. So I wanted to tell you, I'm going to show you how the mouse movement scrolling works. And I will talk about the backpack bananiversary bundle when I talk about that. So we'll make sure we have time for that. But when Eric shows the how you can code this Make a Sketch app, we'll show what the extension. We can talk about why we think the extension is good, or why you might use it.
So here's this that Makey Makey apps page, and if I click on the Make a Sketch app, it's just like that old Etch-a-Sketch toy, but with the arrow keys. So if I press up and then left and then down and then right, I can go all around. I can try to draw something. Not so easy to draw something.
It's not with your computer keys.
It's kind of like a little cyborg pepper that I drew. And then you can press W to change the color. And instead of shaking it up, you can just press space to clear it. So how could we make a physical version of that controller? So let's go over here. So here's some code that I made for doing this. Let me just zoom out. Oops, did that wrong. Zoom out the blocks a little bit so you can see the whole thing. So I've got the cat on the screen and it's being controlled by my blocks here. So for example, when the up arrow is pressed, change Y by 10. So the screen has X side to side and Y top to bottom. So when I press the up arrow, the cat goes up. Oh, but it's not drawing because I need to press my green flag, and that puts the pen down. So that means the cat, whoa, the cat will leave a trail. What happened? Common problem with Makey Makey. I have a stuck input somewhere.
Oh, you also have the wrong, you need to switch your camera.
Oh yeah, and so now I'll show you my physical thing. Thanks, Colleen. And
then you can troubleshoot live with us, and that'll be fun.
So, all right, so I got to plug my Makey Makey back in to the computer. So that's...
Oh, that was why it didn't work.
Well...
You know, that happens to me like so many times where I'm like, why isn't this working? And I haven't plugged the Earth alligator clip into Earth. So I haven't plugged the Makey Makey in.
Here's my Earth. I'll use that copper thing again. And now I've already got some of this hooked up. Let's see. So I've got, if I put my hand on the Earth and then I touch, this one is connected to the blue wire, connected to up. If you can see that, just barely. And now if I just touch that, now you can see the cat going up. I've got down hooked up as well, and then left, but I still need right. Didn't finish my connection here. So this is just, I just tore off a piece of this aluminum tape, left a bit of the edge open to make it easier to stick it to the table. But otherwise I left the backing on there, and that makes it easier to connect the wire. Let's grab another wire. How about an orange one? So this alligator clip, I will just clip on to my piece of aluminum tape and then plug it right in on the Makey Makey to the right arrow. Now I've got all four of them connected. Cool. So I can draw stuff. But, and this is a fun idea from Colleen, instead of just touching those with my hands, I can make something almost like a joystick using this orange. Like, what? Really? Okay, so I have my hand on the copper thing, and another hand touching the orange, and now I'm going to bridge the connection between the orange and each of these tape pads. Oh, yeah, there we go. And now let me just press the green flag to reset. And I will attempt to draw something by rolling the orange around. We'll go up, and then right, oh, and then back. Oh no, I was trying to make an E for my name, Eric. This is not easy, folks. There we go. Hey, I kind of made an E. Anyway, so that's my very simple Scratch orange sketch.
I like orange sketch.
Thanks.
I'm gonna show, so I made a quick controller and someone was talking about our new backpacks and I'm gonna show you how to code the mouse. Because I do think that's really fun to do. And also we have this new Makey Mouse backpack and I already have it plugged in. But the backpacks just allow you, if you're new to Makey Makey, this might be overboard, but if you're and maybe it's not, I don't know, but what we've seen in the past is that people have neglected the back of the board, and we don't know if that's because these headers are intimidating or what is happening. So these backpacks break out what's on the back of the Makey Makey. So on the right side is a mouse control, and so the backpack breaks out the mouse control. And so now I'm going to be able to control my computer mouse with Makey Makey by touching these Play-Doh pads. And I'm also going to show you really fast how to code that in Scratch because it's super fast and fun. And the other backpacks that we have just to show, I want to show this one first, is WASDFG. And so that's this side of the Makey Makey. And we call it Player 2 backpack. You just have to align. It's an expansion board. That's kind of what you can think of it if you do microbit or other things. It's like a shield, like an Arduino shield. But this will just break out WASDFG. And Eric, why are WASD on the Makey Makey anyway?
Good question. When people are making computer games for the keyboard, if you have one player, you might use the arrow keys to go up, down, left, right. But people started to use other keys for a second player, or maybe just for preference for your left hand. But the WASD combination is used kind of like arrow keys in a lot of games.
Right. Wasn't it before the mouse came? Or am I
Oh, I
making
don't
that
know
up?
that history. I remember playing on an Apple II games that
Yeah.
used that.
The mouse was fairly new. So the last backpack is Makey Max. And this one has WASDFG and mouse control. So you can have all 18 inputs alligator clippable. That's what it's for. So let me show you how to code the mouse in Scratch because I think that it was Mike Carroll who makes Scrappy Circuits that showed me how to do this, that I thought this was so cool. Let's see. Can you see my Scratch?
Yep, that's working.
Okay, good. Then let me also have more space for my Scratch. So I don't know if it's probably all piled up for you. Oh,
We can see
Romies.
your blocks.
You can.
Yep.
Okay. Let's just do that. Okay. So what I did is I did use the space. I actually did it. The easiest way, let me hide all this other stuff. So you don't want to see all that. All you actually have to do is get the pin extension, right? Which is here. I don't know if Eric showed that. So I've got the pin extension.
No, so just to step that a
Yeah.
little slower. At the bottom left, there's a button you can click to get to the extension library. These are more blocks for doing more things. One of them, the pen, lets you draw on the stage.
Right. And so so that gives us that make a sketch feel. So when I put the pin down, when it's clicked, and I'm just going to show this because I did this first on accident. So if I go to motion, there's a button that says go to random position, but I can click the arrow and it also has go to mouse pointer. So if I do this and I put this here and I hit start, you could see it just ran right back to my mouse. And that's because I didn't put I didn't put a forever loop in. So I'm going to put my forever loop in and hit start. And now I can control my mouse this way. I also have space again. Oh, wait, let me do that again. I do have space connected to clear. So I can hit space. And then I've made this Play-Doh controller. So this is my earth. And I can draw with my Play-Doh. I can make diagonals, by the way. And I also did it so I could change color if I did the right arrow, which I didn't program, but if I touch right, I can change the color. But what I really wanted to show you is that I can take my piece of foil from the other switch. I can put it on top of my earth that's here in the center. And now I have like a joystick feel.
Whoa.
So I can draw. Oh no. my mouse is like, oh, I'm hitting all the earths, I think. I don't know what happened. Why isn't it working?
Oh, this is called debugging. Everybody stay
Right.
calm. We're gonna fix it.
I'm gonna unplug it and plug it back in. I'm gonna make sure that's working. I'm gonna hold earth. Okay,
So
I'm
try
drawing
each
there.
part of it separately and see what's going
And then
on.
I'm gonna put the earth down. There we go. So now I can draw like I'm a
All right.
joystick, which is
All
kind
right.
of fun.
What should we ask Colleen to draw with her Play-Doh joystick controller?
No, please don't.
Can we
But
have
do
a
you know what's really cool about this, Eric, is that it's more like the Etch-a-Sketch than using the arrow keys or the mouse. Like when I have something like this, and I actually let me grab it real fast. I have an actual Etch-a-Sketch I built with Makey Makey. One second.
what?
Here she is.
And Colleen, we have a couple other questions in the chat here that I think are good for you to.
Yeah.
So we
I'll,
can
I'll
pause in a minute for those.
For the mouse control, all I really had to do was go to mouse pointer, and then my sprite is going to the mouse pointer, which I think is a super cool, quick thing. And then you can focus on creating. So here's my Etch-a-Sketch style, and when you turn the dials,
Whoa.
when you turn the dials, it draws.
What's in those dials, Colleen?
Do 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 do.
Oh, and so there's just a
So
switch for when you turn it one way and a switch for when you turn it the other way?
yeah. So this was in our Makey Makey for Evil Genius book. In the center is Earth. Can you see that? In the center is Earth, and this goes left, and this goes. So this is actually left mouse control and right mouse control and up and down. So that's how that works. And then what's on the other side? This is way complicated of a project, but this is what people can do when they start getting really crazy. And so this is the Earth, and underneath here is some bare conductive paint, and that just touches those conductive endpoints and completes the circuit.
There's lots of ways from simple to complex to make things with Makey Makey, and people are always inventing new ones that we haven't seen before even. We'd love to see that. There's so many ways to make it work.
So yeah, what did someone ask? If you don't have the special breakout board, all you do is use the little tiny white wires that come in your kit, or you can they have these too that are I actually prefer these jumper wires. You
So they're just little wires, and they plug into the sockets on the back of the Makey Makey. That's where you get the mouse control and WASDFG.
Right. So
or you can buy that backpack bundle that
and you can buy the backpack bundle. I'll put a link. There's the mouse, and you just take this side and you plug it into the tiny little head of the. See, this is why people don't use it as much, because this is like getting it way into quote unquote electronics.
Yeah, it's a little fiddly. It's doable.
Yeah.
But you just got to plug into those little.
Then what are you gonna do here, right? You may so I could stick that directly into my Play-Doh, or I could go underneath. And I actually forgot to show you my best hack that you didn't see.
What's that?
And so I didn't get my alligator clips dirty. I put a paper clip here, and I just stuck the Play-Doh on top of the paper clip. So each
and Colleen, that's because the alligator clips will tend to get kind of disgusting.
Get gunky.
Clip them to, food or Play-Doh or whatever, and so we're often cleaning them out. But I like that hack so that the paper clip gets dirty, but not the alligator clip.
Totally. And thank you, Chris, for sharing my book link. I wrote a book with my husband before I worked for Makey Makey called 20 Makey Makey Projects for the Evil Genius. And it's usually sitting right here next to me, but I don't see it. But so thanks, Chris, for sharing that in chat. And I'll share the backpack bundle. And yeah, the wires can be difficult. And if you have the back pieces, usually I actually had one pair of students break this, and it was because they jumped on it. So I mean, because they were making a DDR pad. They were making a DDR pad, but
so that's Dance Revolution, a game that you play by pressing different pads with your feet for the different directions. It's a popular Makey Makey project. Really fun.
So I do say, like, if I'm handing electronics to students, even first graders, like, don't fiddle with this. These can come off. You might break it, and tell them, not to mess with those things. So if you have a problem where that comes off, you can always email us at support@joylabz.com, because we're pretty awesome people over on the Makey Makey team. So is the mouse control like a touchpad? So it's not like a touchpad in the sense that it's only on the back header unless you add this backpack. So let me show the backpack again.
I think maybe what the person is asking is,
that not what they
does it
mean?
work the same as everything else? And I
Oh yeah,
think
it works the same. So you have to hold Earth and you have to touch the inputs. I can pull these off for you.
and then maybe I could just say a little more about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
The key is something that you press. The
Mhm.
Makey Makey touchpad, like we were showing, is something that you press. But the
Right.
mouse is different normally because
Right.
you move around to different positions. So the key idea is that what we did is made something that you press that just causes the mouse to move continuously. So when you press the right mouse input, what you're doing is asking the mouse to just move a little bit at a time in that direction. And so that's how we made inputs like keys, but for the mouse. It's just like a joystick instead of a mouse. Is more like what
Right. So we made like a mouse that we could control with different things, and now my mouse is like a touchpad because I've plugged in the backpack. But
and so each time when you hold your finger, say on the up input,
yeah, it goes
the
up.
mouse is just sliding up while you're
Right.
holding that.
And I can do diagonals if I press them both.
Oh yeah, we had a question about diagonals, which is great, and that works for the keys as well.
Right.
You can press the up and right arrows at the same time, just as you can on the keyboard, and that will work with Makey Makey too.
Yeah. And just to show, if I go right here, can you see all the apps again?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. Just to show some of the other new apps, and then we'll see if there's other questions. We do have like the piano app and the audio sampler, and you may or may not have noticed there's a control panel. So here on the control panel side, I can change this to 18 inputs. And now I can use my Makey Makey and my Player 2 backpack or my Makey Max and make an 18 key piano so that I can play.
One of my favorite things is making Makey Makey musical instruments. So I love to see people doing that.
I loved using that app. It did open the piano app. You could see that, right? Sometimes I share a tab and not the right screen.
You're on it.
And then the timer app is super cool because we were talking about the timer app. So let me just do the timer app with my hands. And if I had, I started it with left arrow, and I'm going to stop it with right arrow. So someone shared at the very beginning a Hot Wheels track that they did. So you could have the two paper clips, the gates open to start, right, or close, and then you press to stop. And what if you want to time 5 different things? Well, you can do that. So you can just keep changing here. And if you don't, and this actually uses all the keys that are on Makey Makey. If I wanted to use a second Makey Makey and I maybe have more keys, I can actually click here and change what I'm using to control it. So that's why you'll see on some of our new apps. Now I've just got timers going. Like this. I'll show the Fruit Catcher app. So on the Fruit Catcher app, if I put in 18, and to me, this is again where we can start coding all these things in Scratch, because we're looking at like, oh, here's a cool app. Now, how can I make that same app? So if I do the other inputs here, you can see it's saying that like the numbers, and that's just the idea that you can remap Makey Makey to be different keys. I actually have this fruit catcher built too. I can't believe I didn't bring it to show. So now I just have to press the key to try to catch the fruit. So it's just another really fun new app. And this is another mouse control one. And unfortunately, I unplugged the mouse. But let me see.
I think we're not getting your screen share sound, Colleen.
Oh, okay.
Restart that.
How sad.
Because it makes a nice popping sound when you pop the bubbles.
Yeah, I really love this app. And maybe it's just my sensory me, that I like it. Hang on.
It's a nice sensory experience.
It is. And I can't hold Makey Makey while it's plugged in because it was making stuff go off. So
chaos.
Also, you have to make sure you get these plugged in right. All right, so there's all the headers plugged in. And unfortunately, I unplugged the audio clip, but now I can go up and then I can click, pop. And I can also click and drag. And if it goes out of the screen, it reminds me, hey, you got to come back, and I can unpop. So it's like a pop it. So
Now we're
this is
getting
really,
sound. That's great.
yeah, this one's really fun to build a controller. It's not so fun to use your hands, and it's not even that fun with the mouse. It's really fun the way you make a controller, and unfortunately I already unplugged everything. So those are just some of the new apps that we wanted to share that you can also use to get excited about Scratch. Get your kids excited.
Colleen, we just have, looks like about 4 minutes left. So
Yeah. What were the other questions we had?
other questions, and then I think we wanted to share the teacher resources slide as well. So maybe we can, do you want to put that one up really quick too?
Oh yeah, I'll put that slide back up. I might have lost the slide, but I
can get it.
Back up. Oh yeah, I'll let you get the slide.
I got it.
And then I'm going to answer this question. So there are so many resources that we have for you, the apps, the how-to, and then the Makey Makey teacher short link there will take you to some embeddable Google slides I made for teachers during COVID. And I lost the chat. I was so brave earlier, and I said, I have all the chat. I'm never going to lose it. And now I totally lost it. All the resources too, I didn't show that. So if you go to how to, that second link there, I create all those resources, and those are student guides that you can say, here kids, make this today, and they can go make it. And like Eric said, we believe in empowering students to get excited about being creative. So it does seem weird to give them something to focus on, but otherwise they face like that white page syndrome where they're like, what am I going to do? So with the apps and the guides, what we have is something to help inspire them, get creative, and help them realize the things they can do with Makey Makey, because I feel like it's kind of weird, right, Eric? Like when you look at it, you're like, what is this thing? And then once you start using it, you start thinking of more and more things. I know that personally, I didn't really see myself as an inventor or someone that creates amazing things. And now I look at stuff when I go, can I make that with Makey Makey? Is there a way I can do that? So the slide deck is available in the session info. I saw it on there. I thought, at least maybe I only saw it as a presenter, but I did see it on there. Someone wants to double check me on that. And thanks for sharing all those links. And we will have a recording, and I believe they'll be able to get the chat, right? Do you know what happens with the chat?
That I do not know.
I don't know either. I hope so, because there were so many good questions. So first time users, Gabriella, I would start with the piano, and I would play the piano. That's what I tell everyone to do.
One reason for that is that it's very satisfying and intuitive to make music. It doesn't start and stop like a game. And also, having it make sound means you can be looking at the physical thing, your banana or whatever, and hearing it. So you don't have to look at the screen to see that something worked at the same time as looking at your Makey Makey creation. So that's why we use sound a lot. So you can hear it while you're interacting with the physical thing.
Just so everyone knows, the first 8 guides are how I would go in order. I built these to scaffold, and the Makey Makey classroom slides go with this exact lineup. And if you get the STEM pack, there's an educator guide that has the curriculum teacher side of what goes, and this is the student facing side. So here's your first time setup project. Go to the Makey Makey piano. It shows you how to plug it in. It shows you how to plug up the banana. And I made this wonderful video to talk about how Makey Makey works. This is all great stuff to share directly with your students. And then after that, I put the apps for plug and play, so you can just play after that. A lot of people start really small. There's a paper circuit one that doesn't use Makey Makey, and then it goes hands-on. And then we have a conductivity tester, because like you said, what can I use with Makey Makey? And this progression I found to be really successful. And then the backpacks all have their own new projects, and underneath them is the second half. So I used to always say the first 16 guides. This is where you get a little more advanced. So if you've done pianos and you've done musical instruments and you want to go further, this is where you can go and you can create new switches. You can learn to hack a toy. You can make a pixel art finger paint similar to what we did just now with Make a Sketch, and end with an invention challenge where your students create something for younger students to help them maybe learn about math or literacy. So those are all that's my progression, what I would do in the course of a year if I was still able to go to school.
Thanks, Colleen. That's great, and thank you to our participants in the session for all the great questions. And I think we're out of time.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming. It was so great to see you.
And thanks to our interpreters and other support.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Thanks, Scratch team, for having us here.
Have a great rest of your Scratch.
Oh, there's my timer that says the session's over.
Okay, bye-bye, folks. Thank you.
Bye.